how to get out of your own way. Hi guys, my name is Christine Loveridge and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about how to get out of your own way. Before we get into this video, please leave a like, please do subscribe, and if you have any tips yourself or any stories, anything else you would like to share, then please do leave them down in the comment section below. Thank you so much. So usually the thing that's stopping us the most is ourselves. The thing that stops us from getting our dreams, getting the dream body that we want, achieving the things that we want to achieve, hitting our targets, hitting our goals, getting good results in exams. Usually the only thing that is in our way when we are aiming for these things and striving for these things is ourselves. So what is the first step in order to help get ourselves out of our own way and to stop procrastinating on, the things that we know we need to do? And that is the first thing, the most important thing, is to do what you need to do, whether you feel like it or not. And often this is the most hardest hurdle. So what can we do? Like, how can we start doing that? So even just a small action can help create momentum. So let's say you have a hard time getting going in the mornings, which is something that I know that I personally do. So some of the first things that I do before I even start my day is to obviously tidy my bed, brush my teeth, brush my hair, do the washing up after breakfast. Those are the things that help me get going, because if I tackle these little things and if I start getting myself on a roll, I'm more likely to accomplish the other things that I need to do later on in the day. So it's starting off with those small things and basically getting yourself going that's going to help you with that. Starting off by doing small things that can help bring momentum, shall we say. This is why a lot of people do something like exercise in the morning, because obviously it sets them up for the rest of the day and they've done a hard task, they've done something productive in the morning, and therefore they can have better energy to do other things as well, because they already feel like they have done something good, right? So that's why some people exercise in the mornings. It really does set them up for the rest of the day. Now, I exercise in the later afternoon because that's just when I have the most energy. I'm a little bit more sluggish in the morning, so I need to do other tasks first before I tackle the more bigger ones to help get the ball rolling. But you might be different. You might want to handle, and do the big things first, like things like exercise or doing your most hard tasks first to help get you going. But if you struggle, then I would recommend just doing small things like just tidying up and doing other things like that might help you get the ball rolling, getting you into a more productive mood. So let's go into more detail on small things. So if you have been struggling doing a dissertation, it could be even studying, you might be struggling with doing a project at work, perhaps you need to write an email, and it's like let's say it's like a really long one or something, or you're trying to get into the routine of exercising, then start small, especially if you have struggled with it in the past and you've overwhelmed yourself. One of the examples I use when I'm talking about personal development is New Year's Eve, and when someone says they want to lose weight and then they give like a grandiose goal that they're going to work out for an hour every day, even though in the past they haven't actually been able to achieve that. So instead of saying to yourself, I'm going to work out an hour each day, but in the past you haven't remained consistent with that, then it's better to actually start off by doing something like 15 minutes of exercise a day. And then over the weeks and months, you can build up to that hour once you've been consistent with the easy 15 minutes. And usually when you start something and you're doing something for 15 minutes, you go over it anyways, but just aim for the 15 minutes. So when it comes to like an exam paper, or it could be a really important email, first make a really sloppy copy instead of trying to get it perfect the first time around. So when you are studying, write a bad first draft, but do it, right? Do the whole thing, but do it in a way that is easy, it's not too complex. Just write the thing, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't aim for perfection on the first try. And that's the same with sending a really important email. basically just make a little skeleton of what has to be in there. It could be even, you could even just start with a few bullet points of the things that you want to cover in it. Okay, so small, manageable task. Writing a sloppy copy of a dissertation, is much better than trying to do it perfectly and then getting yourself overwhelmed because it's not perfect straight away. Aim to do the easy thing first. So you can either do something for a small amount of time, or you can either do something in a way that's kind of a hash job of it, right? But as long as you get it done, and you've started something small, and then you can obviously make it better. You can add more time to work out things like that later on. But first, just get the thing done, even if it's done badly. So the time when you can move on to big actions is when the small actions are a lot more easier. So once you've done a few weeks of just working out for 15 minutes, you can up it to 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Once you've done the sloppy copy of your dissertation or the email that you need to send to someone, that's when you can start refining it and making it better. Once you've done the easy things first, it's much more better for you to tackle the bigger problems. And who knows, you might even be able to just do it in one day. Let's say you are writing a dissertation or this important email, you might get into the momentum of it and actually end up completing it anyway. But if you first just aim small, it's then much easier for you to aim bigger and to be able to do bigger and better things. But first, start aiming small, especially if these are things that you've never been consistent with in the past. So there's big things that you probably do right now that is really, really easy for you because you've been doing it for so long. But if you are sliding in other areas and you're letting other areas slip, then in those particular areas, you need to start going small first. So my next point is to tackle each thing at a time. So the best way for you to do that, the best method, and I've got a little list here, and the first thing on that list is to write a to-do list. So write a to-do list first of the things that you need to specifically do for that day or for that project. So write a to-do list. And then once you've written your to-do list, put them in order of importance. So what's the biggest thing you need to do? What's the most important thing that you need to do? And then tackle each one of those things at a time. Don't try to multitask. Try to just focus on one thing at a time, and that should help you. The reason why I say don't multitask is because, especially if you really need to focus, is that if you're trying to multitask, you're likely not focusing on one thing as much as you should be. So, if you need to write something and it's really important that you write it, don't try to be answering the phone at the same time. You get my point, because you're either going to make that phone call not as good, or what you're writing is not going to be very good. So that's something that you really need to keep in mind. It's better to just focus on one thing at a time. Now, of course, you could be writing something and listening to music at the same time, but if you are trying to do two important tasks at the same time, it's most likely that you're going to do a bad job at both, okay? So just focus on one thing at a time. And if you're really focusing as well, you should be able to get it done really quicker as well. You should be able, if you've got no distractions, it's going to be much easier for you to do it even faster, and you're more likely to get through that to-do list. So the next point I want to make, and it's really, really important, and that is if you fall by the wayside, so you slip back, you don't do what you need to do one day, don't beat yourself up about it and just get back on the horse. So if you're having a bad day and you for whatever reason you're not feeling great, perhaps you're ill, perhaps your anxiety is just really bad that day, then just do what you can, just do what you manageably can. And if you need to take a day, then take a day, but get back on the horse. Just don't feel bad about it. And if it gets really bad, then, go back to doing the smaller things, the more manageable things, as opposed to the really big things. Because we're only human after all. We only have a limited supply of energy throughout the day. We only have, a limited amount of time. So don't stress yourself out too much. Just do what you can do if you're having a bad day, because there are going to be days where you're not feeling good, and there's going to be other days where you're great and you're on fire and you're doing loads of work. On those days where you feel really productive, do as much as you can. But on those days where you feel lethargic or you're unwell, or you're just really anxious and stressed, then just do what you can. Or if you need to take a day, then take a day. Just don't let it be for too long, okay? So the next thing I want to talk about is like a little experiment that you can actually do with yourself, okay? So the first thing for you to do is to have a day where you do nothing. You just indulge in all the things that you want to indulge in. So this could be like eating junk food. It could be, you know, playing video games. It could be missing out on a workout. It could be not working on your side business if you have a side business. Basically just doing nothing on the things that you know you should do. Okay, have a day like that where you're just not doing anything. Now obviously be careful with this, you know, just when I say ignore your responsibilities, I don't mean not feeding your dog or taking your dog for a walk, even though your dog needs to be fed and taken for a walk. So obviously those things obviously need to be done. But when it comes to things for yourself, like working out, you know, things like that, have a day where you don't do anything. Have a day where you're not doing the things you know you should be doing. And then have a day where you complete your to-do list. Have a day where you have accomplished all that you need to accomplish. And then basically what you need to do after that is just simply make a note of how you feel. So after your day of not doing anything, make a note of how you feel about that. Make a note of how you felt throughout the day. And then when you've done your day of doing everything you need to do on your to-do list, then write down how you feel about that day. And spoiler alert, what will probably happen is you will have felt much more better on the day that you did your to-do list and you accomplished everything. Another important thing to point out though is that make sure on both of these days you've had a good night's sleep the day previously, because if you had a great night's sleep on the day that you feel, because if you had a great night's sleep, let's say on the day that you had the day where you was doing the indulgent things, you're probably going to feel really good on that day. So if you didn't have a good night's sleep on the day that you did do your to-do list, you're probably going to feel bad on that day because you didn't have enough sleep. So make sure on both days you do this experiment that you've had a good night's sleep, okay? And all you need to do after that is just, you know, record the difference, and you'll see that you feel a lot more better about yourself on the day you did everything you needed to do. Anyway, I hope this video has helped you. If you would like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com/shop. I hope this video has helped you, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye, guys.